everyone, it's Rena. Today we're going to be making an easy Halloween treat box. I'm super excited to share it with you, so let's get started. Okay, so let's get started on our Halloween treat box, and this is what it'll look like when we finish. And I have one that I haven't finished just yet, and so you can see what the inside looks like. And you can fit in a candy this way, and then maybe some stickers or a little note, or you can fit in 2 candies side by side like that. They'll be very snug, but they will fit. The size of the box is 4 inches by 2 inches. The thickness is about 1/2 inch, I think, 1/2 inch. So there's some space in there for a small goodie. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take our base cardstock, and you can choose any color you'd like for the base, probably depending on what embellishments you're using or what designer paper you're using. That'll help you decide what color you want the base to be. I like to use black, so that's the color of my base. We're going to take our base and we're going to do some scoring. So on the 7-inch side, we're going to score at 2 1/4, 2 3/4, 5 1/4, and 5 3/4. So again, that's on the 7-inch side. Score at 2 1/4, 2 3/4, 5 1/4, and 5 3/4. Then you're going to rotate this to the 5-inch side, and you're going to score at 1/2 inch and 4 1/2 inches. So again, on the 5-inch side, 1/2 inch and 4 1/2 inches. That's it for scoring. So now your base sheet is going to look just like this. And I want you to notice that the panels at the end, there's one that's a little smaller and one that's a little bigger. At this point, you have to decide which part do you want your pocket to be. So if you choose this side to be your pocket, then your pocket's going to have a little bit of a smaller pocket, and your candy will peek out a little more. And if you choose this side, then it's going to be a little bit of a larger pocket. So for instance, on mine, I chose the larger side to be the pocket, and when I stick the candy in there, you can't really see it, right? So completely up to you. And then my top one I chose is the smaller side, so it's completely up to you. I think this time I'm going to choose to have the smaller side be my pocket. Once you make that decision, then you're going to do this only for the pocket side. You're going to cut out this tiny little square and this tiny little square. So go ahead and do that. And you're going to do it on both sides. Okay, and so for the side that's not going to be your pocket, you're going to cut out the square and the rectangle, the square and the rectangle. And again, this is for the side that is not going to be your pocket. Okay, so this is what your base paper should look like at this point. This is going to be my pocket side. This is going to be my outside, I guess you could call it the lid of your box. Okay, so now what I want you to do is I want you to fold on all your score lines, and you can use your bone folder to make sure that you have some really nice creases. So now you can see that this is how your box is going to come together. You see how the smaller flap is now my little pocket, and you can see the difference with this one, how I made the larger flap the pocket. Okay, so the next thing you're going to do is, before you glue, you're going to decide if you want to have a decorative edge. If you have a border punch, you can definitely do a border punch at this point here, and you can add a border punch on this side here, completely up to you. The other thing I want you to decide before you put your box together is how are you going to close your box. If you're going to use a Velcro closure, you can just stick it here and here, and you don't have to necessarily worry about how you're going to glue your box. However, if you're going to add ribbon like I did here, you're going to want to punch your holes before you glue your box together, because otherwise, I don't know about you, but my big crocodile will not fit in this tiny little box. So what you'd want to do is make sure you punch your holes in before you glue your box together. The other thing that I find so much easier is to glue my papers down, my designer paper down, before I glue my box together. So in this case, my box is going to go like this, and my paper would go right here. I'm checking to see what way, so that way I don't do it upside down. Here's my ATG. And then my top paper would go like this. Okay, so now I have my designer paper on, and now if I was going to add holes for a ribbon, this is the point that I would be doing that. So what I would do is I would hole punch here first, and this is 4 inches across. So if you want it to be perfectly centered, you can do a hole at 1 inch and then a hole at 3 inches. And then what I would do is I would color in a little dot, so I would know exactly where my holes needed to be on this part of my pocket. Now Velcro, if I'm going to use Velcro, then I can just go ahead and stick it on now if I'd like, or I can wait till the end. And you can embellish the back if you'd like to. Like I said, it's 4 inches by 2.5 inches. So if you just went down a quarter, you would be cutting your designer paper at 3¼ inches by 2¼ inches. But I don't like to embellish the back. You could also add a little white note card up here at the top so that you could write a special message. That's something else you could do. Completely up to you. There are a ton of different ways that you can embellish this tiny little box, and then you can just put some goodies in and give it to the receiver. This is how I embellished my first one, and this little sentiment came from Anna Griffin. I have some of her Halloween embellishments from last year. So I have that one, and then I have this one. I have a bunch of those little embellishments. And then this little Halloween, this little witch's hat came from Design Space, and I just used a ton of stickles and Week of Stella to make it shiny, and then I added my little ribbon here. So anyway, that's it. That's the easy Halloween treat box tutorial. I hope that you'll make a ton of little boxes, and please make sure to share them if you're in my Facebook group. I'd love to see them there. If you're not in my Facebook group, please make sure you join. Sincerely, Rena's Crafty Tutorials, Tips, and Swaps. Thanks. See you soon.